Artificial intelligence is changing how we work, create, and find information. But every search and prompt relies on data centers that use large amounts of electricity and water.
And that impact is hitting close to home. Across the DMV, communities are debating new data center projects and the power lines needed to support them. So how do we balance the growth of AI with the cost to our environment and communities? Joining us this morning is American University professor Maya Livio, who studies the intersection of digital technology and the environment. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, most of us never see the infrastructure behind an AI prompt. We really don't even think about it a lot of times. So what does it actually take in electricity and water to power some of these systems? And talk about why that's raising environmental concerns.
Yeah, so it's a really complicated question, and actually I could quote you some data on how much water and energy it takes precisely, but that will change within the next 5 minutes. But what we know is that the energy costs are extraordinarily high. The carbon emissions are high because of how computationally intensive what we do on data centers is. And in order to cool the data centers, we need a lot of water, fresh water, to keep those servers running efficiently. What's also important to understand is that the environmental impact of data centers is actually much greater than the water and the energy that we're hearing so much about. It's a land use question. We're building these huge, significant infrastructures on the land, converting agricultural lands to data centers, bifurcating wildlife corridors, doing all these kinds of, effectively permanent installations on the land. I mean, these things will outlive us and our future generations. And so there are a lot of questions to consider in terms of the environmental impacts. We're also building substations and transmission lines to power the data centers. So when we talk about the environmental impacts, we're not even just talking about the data center itself, but sort of all the infrastructure around it.
So here in the DMV, a lot of communities are questioning these new data centers and the transmission lines. What costs could local residents face from energy bills to the water use that you just mentioned and the land development as well?
Yeah, so energy costs, I mean, we know that energy bills are going up regardless, have been increasingly inflated. And so folks are already seeing this in the region with their energy bills going up. Water usage is a kind of longer term problem. Water will become scarce around the planet as the climate warms and as we change our land use more broadly. And so we need to be thinking about really protecting our fresh water. Especially here where we also have the bay and we have so many important waterways that we need to be thinking about. But in terms of land use, it affects folks from the hardscaping that goes around the data centers can create heat islands. It can change the hydrology, and so floods can become worse, or runoff can become a different kind of issue. The sort of fragmenting of habitats that I mentioned, that also affects everyday folks in the DMV because invasive species can become more prevalent when we fragment habitats. Deer can become more prevalent when we fragment habitats, so you might see more deer eating vegetables in your garden. I mean, all of these kinds of things, all those transmission lines that are being built to power the data centers are going through some of our last remaining green space in the DMV. So, it affects sort of rural communities and urban communities alike. There are a lot of different stakes.
There are so many layers to this. We really appreciate your time and insight. I wish we had more time. Professor Maya Livio, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.